2014 is shaping up to be a great year for not only role-playing games, but also for real-time strategy, tycoon, and Sims games as well. Banished by Shining Rock Software is the product of one person who did all the coding, artwork, animation, and sound design. The game is as indie as it gets, but that doesn't stop it from being one of the most addictive city-building strategy games we've played in a long time. As its name implies, players are responsible for the health and well-being of a small group of people who have been banished from their society. Left to fend for themselves in the wilderness, gamers need to build shelter and find sources of food and warmth. At first, there's little that can be done aside from whipping up a few shacks and creating a hunter-gatherer society, but depending on the difficulty you play on, we recommend hard to squeeze the most fun out of the game, you'll probably lose a few settlers to the cold before the end of the first winter. Then it's time to gather resources. Wood, stone, iron, and generic food are the basics, all of which can be found on the forest floor, but to truly thrive, the civilization has to grow and get a little more sophisticated, and to do that, everyone needs a job. Standard laborers will clear developing areas and organize supplies, but builders are necessary to put structures into place. Hunters kill deer for the venison and leather that happen to wander into camp, while gatherers scour for roots and vegetables. Tailors can then fashion warmer clothes for the populace. The blacksmith creates tools for everyone to use in camp. Lumber camps will not only collect wood, but they'll also replenish the forest, and woodcutters will split firewood for everyone's homes. Fishing camps can bring in a fair amount of food early on, and once you've established that base, resource management becomes a huge part of the game. No food, people starve to death. No firewood, people freeze to death. No clothes, people can't work for very long or very far from home in the colder months. No tools, productivity plummets and your entire camp runs the risk of either freezing or starving. That's just the basics. If you can manage it, eventually you can set up a trade port along a river and barter for seeds and livestock to set up farms. Mines and quarries are a helpful but dangerous source of stone and iron where there isn't any left within walking distance. And of course, it's a good idea to keep your civilians physically and mentally healthy by providing them with healing herbs, a tavern, a church, or even a graveyard to properly mourn their dead. Banished is a survival game against the elements. There is no combat. There are no warring factions. There are some natural disasters like fires, tornadoes, and pestilence that can hit your livestock, but for the most part, starvation and freezing to death are your worst enemies. Our first few civilizations completely flopped because of running out of supplies. We even had one fail because all the children and childbearing age civilians died in the cold, and what was left was a small group of people who were about to perish of old age. If the town becomes popular enough, nomads may request permission to settle, in which you either turn them away, probably to their certain doom, or you need to find some homes and jobs for them. Visually, the game has a great style that should run just about on any machine you throw at it, and it comes at a teeny tiny 100 meg install. The background music and ambient sound hold their own without becoming boring or repetitive, even after hours of gameplay. And we absolutely love the super simple user interface. Everything appears on its own Windows-esque pop-up that can either be closed entirely or moved to a custom spot on your screen. It's all just point and click, easy peasy. Did we mention that it's addictive? Because it is. Very, very addictive. Minutes will turn into hours. You'll constantly want to improve and build that perfect city. The game's tutorial does a wonderful job of teaching you the basics, but it leaves plenty open for discovery and strategy. On the downside, tragedies don't happen that often. Minor tragedies like small house fires happen most often, but in the few dozen hours we put into the game, we only saw a tornado happen once. It would be nice to see a frequency of disasters option added to the main menu. But for $20, Banished is one heck of a bargain, and we wholeheartedly recommend the purchase. Great design, super intuitive interface, good challenge, and the developer is promising a mod kit shortly after launch, which will only make a great thing even better. It's a sandcastle game where you stand back and marvel at your own creation, and then you'll start all over again because you know you can do it better next time. This one is a no-brainer, especially if you're a sim and tycoon addict. Worth buying.